Today, I want to focus on diagram number 19 in my book, The Belief System, diagram number 18, The Flow of Morals, and diagram 16, The Flow of Enlightenment. And that's what we're all here for. I experienced these thoughts and feelings of desperation, humility, hope, faith, beliefs, morals, virtues, which bring your thoughts, which bring your intentions, which bring you knowledge. And you cannot skip one of these components to get to more knowledge. And the goal is knowledge for further creation out in this dimension. That is our goal. We want to create. We are here to create. And to be able to get pure, proper knowledge from our Creator, we have to work through what all of these mean to us. And the beliefs, this is our core of our foundation of who we are. So once we have the belief set, that brings us the self-worth, which I find both of these very important to elaborate on today as a result of that. Because if you don't have self-worth, you can't come up here to have an action that is going to make a change out in this world, because it's from the inside out. You have to change from the inside out. You can continue to do action and give to people and do your thing, but if you don't have the proper intentions and you don't have a proper belief system, it's not going to make any change in the world, because we are all connected and it starts within me and it works itself out. I have different ways that I saw the diagrams through visions. It's an energy that formed in my mind into visions of how the belief system works. And these are the four components of how you build your belief system. It's on your faith, your hope, your desperation, and your humility. You have to have all of these very strong inside of you before you can move further up the components to get the pure, proper knowledge for creation out in this dimension. So that you can understand that a little better, and your desperation for something greater in your life to show you that you are not alone. That starts it. You have to be open and willing to change everything you've ever been taught in your life. You have to be open and willing to change everything you've ever been taught in your life. And when I found that all of the things I've been taught in my life were a lie, and I had to clean all that out, and all the fear and all the anxiety of my life, I had to start over, because the way I was doing it was not working. And that brought me to making a conscious effort to seek for something greater that brought me hope. I could not get up in the morning with any hope of anything. I had no purpose. I didn't want to get up in the morning. And once I started seeking for something, this brought me to humility. Humility comes through thoughts that there is something greater. I had to accept the fact that I didn't have the answers. I couldn't do this on my own anymore, and I needed outside help. I didn't know where that was going to come from, because nobody around me understood what was going on with me. And it was within me, and I had to seek for a higher power to help me with that. Now, Stephen Hawkins taught me the origins of Big Bang Theory back in college. I was blessed with his presence in college. And I didn't believe that there was a God per se. So for me, that was a big struggle for me to accept the fact that there might be something greater out there. That's why I call it something greater. I didn't want to call it God, because everybody has their own interpretation of what their higher power is. So in the mind of something greater came from that thought that I don't even know if I should call this God. What do I even call this power that is changing me from the inside out? Then people, places, and things bring messages that activates a faith. When I made a prayer that I ended up seeing that prayer in a picture, that was the beginning of realizing that I was getting messages from an outside source. And that woke me up that everywhere I went, I would have like all these questions in my mind, and I'd be talking to somebody and they would answer my question and not even realize that they were like answering my question. And I'd be like, how did you know that? And they had no clue what they even said. It would be in the middle of a conversation. It was like something would come inside of them and they would say what I needed to hear, and then they would continue with their conversation like it never happened. Be like, how did you know? And they didn't even remember saying it. I had entities speaking through other people and they didn't even know they were doing it. The people didn't. I had a flock of white egrays that would greet me every morning. I would go outside to get in my car. And they'd be around the car, or they'd be on the roof just staring at me. When this information first came to me, I was sitting on the patio and I had birds, butterflies, dragonflies, fruit bats, all swarming all around me. They just came out of nowhere. So something was talking to me, and that was opening me up and activating the soul. And the belief in something greater activates self-worth. That's when I started feeling different about myself, because I had no self-worth. When you reach the point where you just want to end it all and you have no purpose, you don't like yourself anymore. And I had reached that point. I went through chemotherapy and radiation for breast cancer. I had a double mastectomy. I had no hair, and I looked like the Walking Dead. And there was no self-worth in there whatsoever, physically, emotionally, or mentally. So when I started having a belief in something greater to help me, that is when things started to happen. And that's where my morals came into play. Because once I had worked through the desperation, the humility, the hope, and the faith, and I had that belief, I started having a self-worth inside of me. I started feeling good about myself. I was waking up wonder what I'm going to see today. What am I going to learn today? I opened myself up to more knowledge.
Why do you have the line with the arrow going up and down to the left of the list of words?
Because there were periods where I would have the faith, and then I still had the negative thinking. I was still fighting. There was a battle within myself. I called it the battlefield. There was a battlefield of not liking myself one day, and then I would go from faith back down to the desperation. And then I'd work my way back up to hope, and then I'd wake up again and I'd be fighting within myself. And that goes into the spiritual realm of what kind of spirit was able to connect with me. Based upon my frequency, my level of vibration is what type of spirit would come inside of me and give me thoughts. And when on the days when I was way down here, there'd be some negative stuff coming through. And that's the days I had no hope, no faith, no belief in anything. So it was a process. I'd climb up 2 stairs up to here, and then I'd fall back down 1 stair and get to humility. So it would go up and down for a period of time. It was a big struggle.
So what do you have to say then to somebody who's in that place of desperation, or in those lower rungs, if you will, of that ladder?
It's finding one thing to be grateful for today. I had to train my thoughts before I even got out of the bed that I had to find one thing that I could be grateful for today. I woke up. Thank you, God. I'm here. It's okay. And I'm not alone. I had to remind myself of that. I'm not alone. There's somebody out there that hears and sees and feels me, and that I feel this presence. And even on the days I didn't, even when I didn't feel love, I would say it anyway because I was retraining my thoughts. And that was a process in the components, that on the days that, I didn't have loving thoughts and I was down on the bottom of desperation, I was finally aware, and awareness is the beginning of change. Once I was aware of what was going on in here and in my heart, it was my responsibility to make a change with that. I had to be the one to say, wait a minute, I cannot allow this inside of me. And prayer, as I think I elaborated on that in part 2, prayer was everything. I had to say it out loud to break the vibrational level that my space was in. I was vibrating at such a low level that I had to speak the words to break the vibrational level that was surrounding me, so that it could go into my heart and activate my soul for change. How much of these components you hold builds the foundation for your self-worth, your morals. How much faith you hold, how much hope you hold, how much desperation you hold for change, all of that is very important. And if you have no motivation and openness and willingness for that change, then it's going to be difficult for you to move up through to receive the proper knowledge. Your morals bring forth the action, your virtues that you take for creation. And that is the reason we are here. We are bringing our Creator out into this dimension to create further. And the goal is to connect to the source of all knowledge for the ever-ending flow of knowledge. There's so much knowledge. I can remember connecting with all thoughts. I was part of that. And it's so hard to articulate what that felt like. I was not in my body. I was somewhere else, but I was still aware of my body, and I could hear all thoughts. I heard loving thoughts, I heard negative thoughts, I heard laughter, I heard crying, I heard all of it all at the same time. And I describe it as in the gravity. It's like inner gravity. And we have to pull ourselves above that to be able to find just the pure thoughts, if that makes sense. There's different levels of the thoughts that are out there. And this process will connect you to all worlds as you gain more knowledge. We are multidimensional. This body is a vessel, and all worlds connect inside of us. And as we become more aware of that, we have so much potential in these bodies that I can't even comprehend exactly what direction we're going in with that.
It sounds to me like the mix of lower rungs on that ladder are going to dictate what your thoughts are. The mix of desperation, humility, etc.
It is determining what kind of emotions and thoughts you have, which balance out the frequency level, the vibrational level that will allow the energy source to come inside of you to provide you with more knowledge. You asked me before what was the difference in the soul and the spirit. The spirit brings forth the knowledge to the soul from the Creator. I spent a lot of time thinking about that question to articulate it even better than I did, because I have a hard time with articulating what I know is inside of me. There's a knowing in there. And I call them the benevolent beings that surround me. I see more and more of them coming into my space. And they all use my body. It's not just me in here. It's all of us in here. And who I choose to connect with is what type of knowledge I'm going to receive to provide me with the action to create further in this dimension. It's a group effort. When you're happy, you have the spirit of happiness. When you're sad, you have a different type of spirit that's coming in. And just depending upon what you're feeling and what you're thinking is what type of source that is entering the body to experience it with you. If that makes sense. So that's why they call it, don't let the spirit of anger inside, because that's what you're going to turn into. And you got to forgive, you got to forget. Why do you got to do all this stuff? Why do you need just love? Because depending upon which type of spirit you allow inside. I mean, we had people, we just had this school shooting in the community where I live. I mean, do you do that on your own? You're allowing a source inside of you to control you to make those decisions. I don't think that's something he could just make up on his own. It was a period of time where that built up inside of him of what type of spirits he allowed to bring him that knowledge. It's so painful to see what the families and the children are going through right now. Our psych units are full because these kids can't handle it. That's the ripple effect of those sort of decisions. And there are dark forces out there that live on this source of energy. They need these feelings of anguish and turmoil and suffering so that they can continue to thrive on this planet. And they live inside of us for that, just for that. I can remember when I was suffering, I would hear them in there, and it was almost like they were laughing at me. They tortured me. I allowed them to torture me. This brings me to the flow of enlightenment. Negative, positive, thoughts, emotions. The more love-based thoughts and emotions you hold determines how enlightened you are. That's what it's all about. And this is a visualization of how that works. Like I said, one day I woke up hating myself. One day I woke up full of love. And the goal is to vibrate higher. I want to feel good. And it was a constant fight. Don't get me wrong, I still have days of that, but it's nothing like it used to be. It's been 6 years, I think, going on 7 years. It's been a real struggle. And I have to share this information because I will not receive more knowledge until I give what I have. And that's my whole purpose of this, because we're all connected. I'm experiencing this not just for myself. I mean, everyone out there is a reflection of a part of me. And I'm not going to see all these suicide attempts unless that's a reflection of me. All I see on the news, all I see in my job, it's just it's a part of me. So I have to choose, what direction I want to go in with that. Do I want to help? Do I want to just sit back and watch it happen? I need to share what has happened to me, because what happened to me is a way that I can help other people learn how to get out of it. Enlightenment comes through knowledge. The more you know, the more you're aware of, the more you grow. You can't stop that. It's like a cup of water. If it just sits there, it becomes stagnant. You have to continue to empty out what you have so you can get more. You are created to carry knowledge to further creation. That's our responsibility here. And not sharing knowledge causes illness. I can see people who are sick, who have physical ailments, and they're so full of fear, they have stopped the flow for the connection with their creator. And that, I believe, is how I ended up with breast cancer. I didn't have any reason to grow. I had everything I wanted. I was done. I was just content with my world. That's just who I was. And I had difficulties accepting some of the relationships that were in my life. And I repressed it and I internalized it, and it turned physical. And it went right to the part of me that is everything that a woman is. So the body is needed to further creation in this dimension. The spirit world, it sounds like a simple statement, but people are forgetting the fact, even when they're connecting to these higher levels, that they got to take care of their body. They're responsible. They're the vessel for all of these higher realms to come and create with us. And that's going to be what you eat, what you drink, how you sleep, how you give yourself a break to debrief from all the chaos that's out there. So that's the 3 diagrams I wanted to discuss today. And thank you very much for allowing me to vocalize some of this stuff, because I am learning how to articulate it. I'm the type of person who sits in the back of the room, and I don't like driving the bus. I let somebody else drive it, but I'm responsible today. I have to do this. It's my responsibility. Thank you for watching, and please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let me know. Give me some feedback on what you think of this information. It's very important to motivate me to know that what I say and what I'm sharing with you is helping someone out there. That's my intent. Thank you.